All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our 2022-23 Winter Sports Awards night. I am happy to report to you we had a tremendous season on and off the field. 14 of our senior student athletes earned all academic Chagrin Valley Conference honors. It means they were a 2-year letter winner with a 3.25 cumulative GPA. We'll introduce those student athletes here shortly. And without stealing too much of our coach's thunder here, I'm going to purposely leave some things out, but I will highlight a few of our accomplishments this winter. We had a team win their 7th consecutive CVC championship, another win their CVC for the 4th year in a row, 2 teams win it for the 3rd year in a row. We had district qualifying gymnasts for the first time in almost a decade. We had 8 district qualifying swimmers. We had 11 district qualifying wrestlers. We had 2 teams participate in a district final. We had 2 state qualifying swimmers for the first time since 2016. And we had 3, along with 3 state qualifiers for wrestling. And last but not least, I'm very happy to report we had a state champion. Congratulations to Brock Christian. He was the 132-pound state champ, Division III, at the state wrestling tournament in Columbus just about 10 days ago. Congratulations to Brock and the wrestling program. You will hear more stories, you'll hear more highlights here as we go through the evening. Again, that's just sort of the tip of the iceberg. Each coach will come up and have an opportunity to talk about their season. They'll highlight some of their postseason honorees. And again, you'll hear more about their season. So that'll be coming up here in a little bit. Before we get to that part, I do have a few thank yous and people I'd like to mention that had a lot to do with our successes this winter. Dr. Thompson and the Board of Education, along with Mr. Porcello and Mr. Nidzwicki. Tony Ovens is my athletic department assistant. You guys all know she runs the show down there. I would be lost without Tony. She does a tremendous job of keeping our department organized and on top of things. The program you see tonight, everything sort of behind the scenes. Tony is an absolute pleasure to work with. She does an amazing job. So thank you to Tony for everything she does for our athletes. Jim Smith, thank you. Jim Smith in our maintenance department, Frank, Jonathan, Chris, Armando. You'll see them before games, after games, set up. Sometimes we have quick changeovers between contests. We had wrestling matches in the theater this year. We hosted district basketball, sectional basketball, district wrestling. Those are huge undertakings from a custodial standpoint. We could not do it without those individuals. Our transportation department, keeping our students and coaches safe on the road during the winter. Thankfully, had a decent winter. Not too many cancellations this year, but always some changes. And our transportation department does a great job going with the flow with everything. Little side note, if anybody wants to become a bus driver, please see me after the event tonight. We are indeed bus drivers. We're short. Every school district in the state of Ohio is facing this shortage, so please, if you're interested, no joke, come and see me. We can talk. Our athletic boosters, thank you to our boosters. Currently, if you saw the email yesterday at Infinite Campus, we have a reverse raffle that's going on. It closes this coming weekend at midnight on Sunday night, I believe. And it's an online-only raffle. We made over $12,000 last year doing it online, so we figured, at least one more year of doing it online. You can go on there. We have a $2,000 grand prize, lots of great baskets that our teams donated. So please consider heading on to that website. We'll send it out. You'll see it here over the next 3 or 4 days if you haven't already. Also, our golf outing date has been announced. It is Saturday this year instead of a Sunday. Saturday, May 13th. And it's a Saturday because Mother's Day is Sunday, May 14th. We're not competing with the moms, so our booster golf outing will be on Saturday, May 13th. Consider supporting our event there as well. We usually sell out of foursomes. If you'd like to sponsor a hole, all of those things are available. The boosters do a great job, and I can't thank them enough for all the support they give to our student athletes. Our parents, thank you. The late nights, the change practices, the travel to and from, our coaches, spending time away from your friends, your families, to give to our student athletes and most importantly, our athletes. The time that you guys spend, everybody knows it. You know, broken record, I say it every year, every season up here. No longer do we have, rarely do we have people who do a sport for 3 or 4 months and then don't touch another basketball or don't have another wrestling practice or hop in the pool again, whatever it may be, whatever sport, again until the next winter. It's a 9, 10, 11-month type of a commitment, and we really appreciate all that our athletes do. We're a small school, everybody knows that. We need multi-sport athletes. We always encourage our kids to do multiple sports, and they do that, and then they keep the other sports in practice as well. So our kids are great. Thank you so much. Mr. Adam Young, if Adam's here, can he stand up? He might be out at the baseball field. Adam is our trainer, does a great job taking care of our kids. Let's give Adam a round of applause, please. All right, I'm sure I've forgotten somebody, but at this point in time, we're going to move on. Our coaches will be up here shortly. You can follow along in your program. We are doing reverse alphabetical order this year, so we're going to eventually start with wrestling. Before we call Coach Rowan up, though, I'm going to call Mr. Porcello on stage. He's our high school principal, and we're going to go over our all-academic Chagrin Valley Conference Awards. All right. Our first CVC All-Academic honoree, representing cheerleading, Lillian Augustine. Please stand up when your name is called. Ryan Brubaker, wrestling. Representing our swim team, Katie Caldwell. Representing basketball, Jacob Covison. Back to our swim team, Zoe Hicks. Girls basketball, Sophia Maycab. I think we go on a run of girls basketball here. Grace McCoon, girls basketball. Izzy McCoon. Girls basketball, Caitlin Newsom. Wrestling, Calvin Peters. Swimming, Eddie Renau. Boys basketball, Charlie Rockwell. Also boys basketball, Owen Tomasic. And rounding out our all-academic Chagrin Valley Conference team from wrestling, Kenny Walker. All right, photo op here once Kenny gets his certificate. I think this is the first time in a while we've had all of our academic award winners here from the CVC, so let's give one more round of applause. All academic Chagrin Valley Conference team. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and now you can reference your program here. We're going to go right in order with all of our head coaches coming up. I'd like to introduce our head wrestling coach, Mr. David Rowe.
Hi, good evening. A little bit disappointed to reverse the order first. I always like being last, but I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know why. You know, we have Brock wrestling in front of, I don't know how many people, maybe 10,000, 8,000 people, and I wasn't nervous at all. I mean, he's going to do a good job. I'm nervous in front of you guys, so I'll do the best I can. So what I'm going to do, start out, I'm going to call the whole team up, the wrestling team, up on the stage, please. One up here, 11 minutes. And while they're coming up, I want to talk about our coaches here. We have a really good staff. I want to talk about K through 12 because we're kind of a family program. We take a lot of pride in what we do. We work real hard. We watch these kids grow from, from youth wrestling all the way through middle school to high school. And some really do a nice job for us. And it's a lot of fun. So I have Chris Bezick, Jason Thomas, John Sill, Dan Tretinelli, John Slough, Scott Neswicki, Chad Unger, Joe Levin, Nick Mann, and one guy I'd like to talk about is Mike Christinger. Mike Christinger has been a big help in our staff. I mean, he's a strength and fitness coach, but we are so lucky to have him on our staff and help our boys get strong. So in front of us here is our whole team for the high school here, and I'm looking at some of these guys. I've coached them all the way through youth, middle school, and high school, and that's what's great about our program. These guys here, by the way, one of the biggest accomplishments they have is their Team Ohio All-Academic, which means that our starting line winner in the sectionals had to be an average grade point average of 3.5 or higher, and those guys accomplished that. I'm gonna call your name in the line for sectionals as far as helping for GPA. Tristan Chinturo? Yeah. Now, Tristan is a foreign exchange student from France. Spain. I knew he was gonna get mad. He hates French. So I was teasing. So he filled in at 113. We have Riley Rowan at 120. Step forward, please. Jan Slough, 126, step forward. Brock Kristen at 132. Christian Isaac at 138. Drew Smith at 144. And CP, Calvin Peters at 150. Dominic Omachia at 157. Ryan Brubaker at 165. Antonio Bertone at 175. Where's he at? Figures. Okay. And Trent Taylor's probably at baseball too, right? Hope he's throwing strikes right now. Okay. And Nolan Levin, 215. Kenny Walker, big guy, 285. Congratulations, boys. That's a hell of an honor. Okay, so not only did we, we qualify all academic Ohio as a team, we also placed 7th in the state duels, 7th in the state of Ohio in Division III. And our conversation I had with the coaches earlier, doing some research here, was of all the teams that were in the top 8, we were the only team that didn't have open enrollment. I don't know if you guys understand what that means or not, but every one of these boys, except for Tristan, is from Cary, homegrown, through the program, and we work with them, develop them, and they're the best we got. And it's a lot of fun. And I'm really proud that these guys, you understand that we're homegrown boys, and we took 7th in the state. Congratulations. And I do have, one big highlight was beating Madison this year. I always like doing that. Sorry, I hate to say, I hope nobody's from Madison here. But we gave them 18 points starting out. We gave them 18 points in forfeits. We had some guys that were hurt, not in the lineup quite yet. 18 points. That was pretty tough to come back. We ended up coming back and beating them and won by criteria. It's awesome. Just see the look on their faces. Giving them 18 points, coming back and beating them. Awesome. All right. So what I'm going to do is our CBC awards now here. So I'm going to have my coaches kind of help me out so we can get this going as fast as we can. First guy here up the bat was Nolan Levin. He was honorable mention CBC and district qualified. Next up is Calvin Peters, honorable mention CBC, also district qualified. Bertone is not here, but I will say he was second team CBC. He's also district qualified. Trent Taylor, second team CBC, and he's playing baseball. Hope those guys are doing well right now. All right. Luke Smith, second team CBC, district qualified. Dominic Valakia, second team CBC, sectional champ, and district qualifier. He lost his go-to match to get to state. It was a tough loss, a heartbreaker, but he had a great season. First team CBC, sectional champ, and district qualified, and freshman. We have 3 freshmen on our team this year, and those guys did an unbelievable job of starting out and filling in for guys that were hurt in their lineup. I mean, really had an impressive season. Chris Bezic, first team CBC. And MVP of the Chagrin Valley Division for the conference tournament. Last year's go-to match, state 8-10, a heck of a match. We actually missed part of it, missed a lot of it, but he had a hell of a season too. Kenny Walker, first team CBC district qualifier. All right, Riley Rowan was first team CBC. He also, on top of his help his grade point average for the team here to average it out, is academic All-Ohio as an individual. So you have to qualify for the state tournament, which he did. And he had to have a GPA of 3.5 or higher, unweighted by the way, and his grade point average, which he got from his mom, not from his dad, is 3.95. Ryan Brubaker, second team CBC, district qualifier, state qualifier, and 7th place in the state of Ohio Division 2. And then, yes, finally, the big guy, Brock Christian, who had a hell of a season. First team CBC, sectional district champ, and of course, best of the best, state champ. Let's give him a hand.
Russell, stay up here for 1 second. Before, I have a very special surprise guest to introduce, but before I do, I want to make sure we recognize Coach Rowan. He was voted by his peers, the Chagrin Valley Conference, Coach of the Year for this past season. Congratulations. All right, and now I'm going to introduce somebody. It's not on your agenda here, but I am going to introduce somebody who is very important to high school athletics in this area in Northeast Ohio, at least Lake Geauga and Eastern Cuyahoga County. You've probably seen some of his work online or in the newspaper, but he's a huge proponent of high school sports and does a great job covering it for the News Herald. I would like to call up on stage Mr. John Camp for a very special presentation. John, come on.
I'm John Camp from the News Herald, and I just want to say what a pleasure and honor it is to be here tonight. I grew up in the Grand Valley area, very familiar with the Perry Pirates and the legacies that are born and bred here, and you want to just do great things. I just want to say what a year for the Perry Pirates this fall. I mean, this winter. You know, wrestling, CBC champion, girls basketball, CBC champion, boys basketball, CBC champion. Girls swimming, CBC. That's pretty good. That's a heck of a year. You guys deserve a round of applause just for what you've done. The parental involvement is second to none in Perry. You look at the tournaments that you guys host, the concession stands. Everybody's pitching and doing their part. The money that you raise for East Palestine. That's not common. I mean, I've been to a lot of different schools, and they're fighting to find someone to work in the concession stand. They're fighting for someone who's going to take tickets. The involvement here is extraordinary. You've got a lot to be proud of, and I hope that you young men and young women that are sitting here in the front row realize how special a community you've grown up in. And like Coach Rowan said, you don't have open enrollment. Proverbially speaking, you're shopping with your own groceries, you're cooking with your own groceries. There's a lot to be said for winning with what you have, and you've got a lot to be proud of with the parents and community that you grew up in. So kudos to you all. Not for the reason I'm here. You know, the News Herald has always handed out Players of the Year awards. We had our big show last night at Hooley House for boys and girls basketball. We've never done this before, but we have this award. We just started this year. It's called the Lee Kemp Award. And Lee Kemp was a legendary wrestler. he was a 4-time world champion. He won a couple, Pan Am Game gold medals. Graduate, undefeated state champ from Chardon. Anybody who's involved with wrestling knows the legacy of Lee Kemp. Well, I got a hold of Lee a few months ago, and I said, we would really like to name our award after you, the Lee Kemp Award for our wrestling, Wrestler of the Year. So I'm so proud, because I've seen this young man grow throughout his years here at Perry, and he's always been a ferocious competitor, a great young man, and I'm so proud to present the first ever Lee Kemp Award for the Wrestler of the Year to Brock Christian. Thanks for everything you do to support area sports, News Herald, and just your own families and friends. So again, great night. Thank you again.
Second team CBC.
Thank you, Coach Rowan. Thank you, John, for coming on tonight and presenting a very prestigious award, the first of many Lee Kemp Awards, and congratulations to Brock. Not only the state championship, but the Lee Kemp Award as well. All right, we're moving on. Swimming, diving, our head coach is Mr. Brian Scheider. Brian, come on up.
I don't know if I can follow that, but I'll do what I can. This year, the swim team had 16 meets throughout the year. That's the max we can have. Being blessed with our own pool, we have no shortage of teams that want to come up here. Most of the time, though, we do swim against teams that are in Division I or Division II. We always do what we can to stretch the competition so that we're making our kids better every day. Our Perry Invitational, our annual Invitational, had 354 swimmers and divers this year out of 16 different teams. So that was another awesome success of the season. The girls' team was CBC champions for the 4th year in a row. Watching the meet and going back and forth with some of the parents and Mr. Renaud scoring everything as we go along. We're watching every single event as we go, and it came down to the last relay. Perry had to beat Independence. They did, and won the meet by 6 points. The small but mighty boys team ended up 3rd in the CBC Valley Division with only 7 guys. We're fighting against teams that are 2-3 times our size, and we took 3rd. That shows you. The girls had 2 CBC honorable mentions. When I call your names, you can come on up. Allie Hopkins and Ruby Peter. We had 4 CBC second team winners. Katie Caldwell, Madison Scales, Audrey Morganard, and Molly Farrell. And the ladies had 12 CBC first team honors spread out through Addie Renaud, Zoe Hicks, Grace Kitchen, and Katie Caldwell. Our boys team had 2 CBC honorable mentions, McCoy Richards and Sean Strahan. One CBC second team winner, Brody Hicks. And 4 CBC first team honors, Brody Hicks, Colin Griffith, Carson Niemi, and Jonathan Casal. We had 3 of our swimmers named, nominated for MVP of the meet, Brody Hicks, Addie Renaud, and Grace Kitchen. Addie Renau ended up runner-up, and Grace Kitchen was voted MVP of the league for swimming. When we got to the postseason, everyone was able to participate this year. That was the first time since I've been here that everyone was able to participate in that meet because we're limited by the number of entries we can get. We had many time drops and personal bests at sectionals. The girls team finished 11th and the boys 16th out of 60 teams. 4 girls and 4 boys qualified for the district meet across 10 events. Finally, this year we had 2 swimmers qualified for the state meet, Grace Kitchen and Brody Hicks. For the first time since 2011 for the girls and 2016 for the boys. Grace broke the team record in the 100 butterfly with a final time of 59.75. And we also broke the 100 butterfly record about 5 times throughout the year. The final one was a 52.53. Couple of extra notes here. Once everything was all said and done, the News Herald puts out their best of the best. Zoe Hicks was an honorable mention. Grace Kitchen was named News Herald 3rd team. Jonathan Casala was an honorable mention. And Brody Hicks finished as 2nd team. Last but not least, awards that we were figuring out even yesterday. The National Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association offers academic All-Americans to swimmers who have lettered and have averaged a 3.75 or higher throughout all 4 years. And we have 3, Katie Caldwell, Zoe Hicks, and Addie Renau.
Congratulations to our swim teams, outstanding job. I would like to take the time to recognize, also voted by his peers as the CBC Coach of the Year, Coach Brian Scheider. Thank you. All right, moving on to our gymnastics team. And even though it has my name next to it in the program, I'm not our gymnastics coach. Coach Arabs could not be here tonight, but I do have some notes from her that I'm going to read. But let me call, and they're probably going to hate me for this, but let me call Ella Gigante and Marley Freeman up on stage, please. All right, while they're coming up, before I get to the coach's comments, I just want to give kudos, and I know we have some other families in the audience who have had gymnasts before. All right, gymnastics is a club team here, obviously a small team. We'd like to grow the numbers, but it costs money. We don't have gymnastics equipment here, so these young ladies and their families are going to legs. They're going to Mentor, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a week in the evening, random times. All over the place. They're competing in places like Cincinnati and Columbus and Stowe and all over the place. So it's really a sport that takes a ton of time and commitment. And all of our athletes do that, but this is above and beyond the call of duty here. They're not here in Perry. They're on the road quite a bit in everything they do. So congratulations, ladies, for seeing it through. Some comments from the coach. Ella Gigante helped lead her team and her freshman teammate to a very successful 2nd season, debuting new skills on the uneven bars and floor. Ella received season highs down in a large invitational in Cincinnati against 9 other schools, all while training for diving as well. With that said, and receiving her 2nd-year letter award as a sophomore, she is deserving of this season's MVP award, which we'll hand out afterward in our little breakout session. Marley Freeman came in as a freshman to the team and made it all the way to the districts through very tough competition on the balance beam, hitting a season high, boosting confidence to make it even further for next year. I was at that meet. Marley did great. Ella did outstanding. Marley was close to as a state qualifier, just missed by a few points. She also performed hard for a new skill on the vault, landed during the regular season meet against Kenston, placing on the podium, earning this season's Rookie of the Year award. These 2 young ladies hope to continue and grow They're a young team, and we're looking forward to next year. That's Coach Arrows. Congratulations, girls, on a great year. I know the gymnastics team and families are always recruiting, so they're always looking for young gymnasts to join our program. So if you are interested, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Congratulations, ladies, on a fantastic season, and best of luck next year. Moving on, girls basketball and their head coach, Mr. Roy Infalvi Jr. Coach Infalvi.
Thank you, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Rockwell, Ms. Ovens, our administrators here at Perry for giving me the opportunity to coach. It's been a pleasure. I love doing it. Couldn't ask to be at a better place. For Mr. Rockwell, I say most years we're pretty lucky here. He does a tremendous job running our athletic department. I've been to other places, I teach other places, and he, far and beyond, does a great job and runs it the right way. Always at events, always hosts events. I see other schools, they don't want to host events. It's too much work, all right? But we do it here. Mr. Rockwell and our administrators, offer to do that for our student athletes, so we can be at home, so we can play under or in front of our home crowd and do those things. So it takes a lot of work, and he does a great job with it. As far as girls basketball this year, we had a tremendous season. Finished 20-6 overall, 8-0 in the CVC. We won our 7th consecutive CVC title. We advanced to the district final for the 6 out of the last 7 years. It's our 7th consecutive 20-win season, which is pretty remarkable. And we have the players that they work hard at it, they get after it, they make a difference. And kind of going on what Mr. Rowan said, every couple years they redo the numbers for divisions. For girls basketball, we're Division II again this year. We're 3 girls away from being down to Division III. So we're one of the smallest Division II schools in our district, but even in the state. And as far as our schedule, winning 20 games, we play 13 conference games with our crossover, so we have 9 independent games. 7 of those 9 independent games we play against Division I teams. And the other 2 that we don't are private schools. We played Gilmore this year, and we played Masters Academy, which was out of Florida, which was a private school. So we don't play a weak schedule, we play a strong schedule. So for our girls to get after and compete and win 20 games is phenomenal. I'd like to thank our coaches. To run a program the right way, you need a great staff, and I'm blessed with a great staff that do a tremendous job. Craig Austin, our varsity assistant, Coach Infalvi Sr., who he's not here tonight, but he's one of our assistants, and Coach Allen, who joined our staff this year. They bring so much to our program and so much for our girls, and I couldn't do it without them, and they're the ones that make our program and our team go, so thank you. We had some different all-conference athletes this year. For all-conference, obviously basketball, we have 5 starters, 5 people on the court, but we were blessed this year and honored to have 6 all-conference winners, which is pretty amazing. It kind of shows when we go to our voting what other teams think of our players and our girls. So I'd like to call them up. We had 2 honorable mention, all CVC. The first one is Victoria Lynch. Honorable mention, Audrey Austin. We had 2 second team all CVC. Caitlin Newsom. And Sophia Maycad, second. had 2 first-team All-CBC. First-team CBC, Izzy McCoon. And first-team CBC, Grace McCoon. A couple other awards too are all Northeast District. So Northeast District goes everywhere from kind of the west side of Cleveland down to the Akron area, all the way to the Pennsylvania line. We had a couple people honored there. We had 3 honorable mention, all Northeast District: Izzy McCoon, Sophia Maycat, and Audrey Austin. And we had first team, all Northeast Ohio District, Grace McCoon. And then just yesterday announced we're the all-state nominees, and all Ohio third team is Grace McCoon.
Broken record here again, but we have another Coach of the Year, and I'll just say this about Coach Falvey and all of our Coaches of the Year. It's an award that it used to be where you just check the box, any team that won the conference, you got the Coach of the Year award. They changed those rules 4 or 5 years ago, and now it's a pretty involved voting process you have to go through, and they have to be nominated, and so on and so forth. And so I think it speaks volumes. All of our Coach of the Year award winners tonight were voted Coach of the Year by their peers. We're so lucky to have all of them, so I'm happy to present Coach Falvey, Girls Basketball Coach of the Year, Chagrin Valley Conference. And now, moving on to our cheerleading program and their coach, Shannon Horsfall.
In cheer, we don't have the record or the stats to measure our success. But what we do have are the friendships, the lessons we learned throughout the year, and the growth. That's the direct reflection of the effort, the selfless commitment, and the dedication our cheerleaders put in. This season didn't come without sacrifice and obstacles, but the girls pushed themselves to put the work in. We can look back on a season that we spent countless hours learning new material and performances and be proud. To our seniors, Lily and Alyssa, you both have been a huge asset to our program these last 4 years, and I appreciate your dedication to our program. We had a few highlights this season, one being we held our first annual basketball youth cheer camp for the youth cheerleaders, K through 6, I believe. That consisted of us spending 3 hours on a Sunday with them, teaching them a cheer, a chant, and a dance, and then they performed with the varsity and the JV at the following Friday at a varsity game. We had 50 youth cheerleaders, which was tremendous, far exceeded my expectations, and it was a rewarding experience for all of us that was involved. I want to thank my assistant coach, Emily Bowman, who I don't believe is here tonight, and all of my Ferry cheerleaders. Thank you for stepping up to the challenge. Thank you for always representing our school in a first-class manner. And thank you for another memorable season. I also want to thank my booster rep, Holly Erickson, for all the time and effort that she put in to pull off the youth camp and to make it such a success. I appreciate all the time and energy that you put into our cheer program in general. Thank you for coordinating concessions, gathering volunteers for everything we do, and organizing our collection raffle basket. Lastly, I want to thank Coach Isofano, his coaching staff, and the entire basketball program for such a fun and exciting season. At this time, I would like to introduce Mrs. Becky Gary. She is going to present the Jen Gary Memorial Sports Award.
Becky, my husband Dan, who could not make it tonight, unfortunately, and we are the parents of Jennifer Gary. I'm here to present the Jen Gary Memorial Scholarship Sports Award. The winning participant will also receive a $500 scholarship along with their name engraved on the school's Jen Gary Memorial plaque located outside of the high school gymnasium. Jen's classmates of 1999, along with friends and family, established this scholarship in her honor. This award is voted upon this year's cheerleading squad, choosing a recipient who represents the following description. This description was written by Jen's 1998 state champion cheerleading coach, Kevin Buckman. This award is dedicated to the memory of Jen Gary and recognition of her passion for cheerleading. Her contagious and enthusiasm, sportsmanlike conduct, outgoing personality, and positive attitude contributed to her success in this sport. Jen was an outstanding role model. She loved cheerleading and made it fun for all around her. This award will go to those who followed in Jen's footsteps. This year's recipient goes to Belle Scarano.
Thank you, Mrs. Gary and Coach Horsfall. Cheerleaders, thank you for a great season, always supporting our team. Definitely the unsung heroes of the winter. Thank you. Before we call up Coach Isofano, who's our head boys basketball coach, I'd like to thank, if you didn't know, our boys basketball teams were able to go on a trip this past winter. Unprecedented, we've never done it before for a winter sport. They actually got to go to Daytona Beach, Florida and compete, played 3 games down there, had a great experience. And we could not have done that without the 30-plus sponsors that we have. If you saw our shooting shirts this year, we looked a bit like a NASCAR, with all of them listed on the back. Too many to list here, but you know who you are. We could not have pulled that trip out without the sponsorship and the businesses and the families stepping up. So to echo what Mr. Camp said earlier, Perry is certainly a great place to be, and thank you to those families and organizations that stepped up to make it possible for our boys and girls teams to attend. So without further ado, we'll turn it over to boys basketball and Coach Isofano.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to echo the same thing that Coach Baldwin said in regards to those different thank yous in regards to Coach Rockwell and the different support that we have in place. We appreciate it so much, and this place is truly a great place to be able to, for me to teach and also coach at. I don't know if Coach Rowan's still out there. Coach, I love you so much, man. I should write the program, but you put me up against it. I'm last, 10 plus minutes, but I'm editing as I'm listening to you, but I'm going to do the best I can in the time that I have here. We had an excellent season, and before I get into some of the quick details, I just want to point out our 4 seniors that helped make it possible. And you guys don't have to come up, but you can just stand up real quick and be recognized by the crowd. And before we break out in sessions and talk on our own, I think it's important for them to be recognized in front of everyone. I feel like for someone who's been coaching for a decent amount of time, that it's becoming more and more difficult to make it through a program to your senior year, just for a variety of different reasons. I don't know exactly what that reason is. Kids are tugged in a lot of different directions. There's a lot of different sports options. They get into their senior year, their mind starts racing towards college or other sports or work, or maybe some talented kids that are coming up behind them that it becomes very difficult for them to do what they want to do as a senior in the sport that they're in. So whether they get major minutes or major participation their senior year or not, I think we owe these guys some recognition, and I think it's a really big deal for our kids, Jake Covison, Daytona, Washington, Charlie Rockwell, and Owen Tomasic to lead us in that. And those four were awesome. They all brought different things to the table, throughout their 4 years, and even beyond that in the program. And a big reason for why we were able to win 19 games. We were 8-0 in the conference, which we won the conference. We made it to the district final in the postseason, losing to Beechwood. We had 6 losses. All 6 teams, one of them was state champion. Another team in Kentucky was in their state final, or in their state final couple teams in Kentucky, and everyone else won their district. So we had really competitive losses and a lot of what we would probably determine as success in regards to our wins and our losses. Besides the highlights of wins, losses, conference, and a little bit of a postseason run, as important that is, I think one other message that we really try to hit home this year that our guys did a nice job with, and I'm stealing a line from our varsity assistant coach Grant, and he said it when we were on that trip down in Daytona to the kids. And he said it at, it was 7 in the morning, we got the kids up for a workout, so when he said it, I was probably the only one listening at 7 in the morning. I don't know how awake the kids were, but it's something that hit home with me, and something that he and I try to continue to hit home with these kids throughout the year, and that's be where your feet are, also known as be present. And again, for a variety of different reasons and different distractions that high school kids go through or adults go through, it's not always easy to be present. And it's something we try to remind them in practice. It's something that we try to remind them before games, and really just enjoy the competition, the sport, each other, and the moment that we have right now to go and get better, to go work hard, to go build good habits, and just take one practice, one day at a time, because the season and their high school careers and things along those lines go quick. So enjoy those opportunities, and I think the kids, from evidence of what I saw of the bonding that they did, the preparation that was consistent, the effort that was what we want in our program, and I think from listening to them, from engaging with them, and hearing some of their stories, I think they made, besides winning a lot, I think they made a lot of memories this year, and memories that aren't just about basketball, that they can look back at their high school experience and enjoy. So we had, in my opinion, success, in the win-loss category, and some really awesome accolades individually and as a team. But I think relationship-wise, I think these guys will walk away from this year with some really positive reflections on being part of our program, which in my mind is just as important as some of the wins and accolades that came throughout our season this year. So I commend our guys for that. At this point, I am going to call up our all-conference guys. We have Owen Tomasic and Owen McCoon, who are CBC Honorable Mention. We have Walter Moses, who is second team. We have Jake Covison and Braden Richards as first team all-conference. And real quick, a couple other awards postseason-wise. For the second year in a row, I'll talk a little bit more about this when we break off, but for the second year in a row, we had the entire head coaches in the Lake Division for 2 years in a row. Talk about 2 Perry kids in regards to CBC MVP, the conference MVP. And what a great honor as their head coach to sit there and listen to all these guys in the area have a conversation about 2 guys. It was just down to those. That was the only conversation that was discussed. And this year, the conference MVP was Jake Covison. A couple other postseason pieces, Northeast district teams, Coach described that, where those geographic lines lie in regards to who can be selected onto those teams. Braden Richards was second team, and Jake Covison was first team, Northeast Ohio District teams. And today, the All-Ohio teams came out, and Braden Richards was special team All-Ohio, and Jake Covison was second team. Gentlemen, you're dismissed. Thank you, and thank you, everyone.
Same thing, broken record. We swept the Coach of the Year in the CBC, so our fourth Sugar Land Valley Conference Coach of the Year, Coach Isopano, boys basketball. So congrats to Jacob Covison, 1,357 points career. He's our second all-time leading scorer here at Perry. Congratulations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to reference you back to the inside copy of your program here. A couple of notes before we break off. Again, please visit our booster website at rallyup.com for our reverse raffle. And then these teams will be breaking out at the bottom. Boys basketball will head to the media center. Girls basketball stays here in the theater. Cheerleading will head to the cafeteria. And our gymnastics girls will head to room 205, right by Mrs. Bezzig's room at the entrance. Thanks again, everybody, for coming out this evening, supporting our winter athletes. Have a great day. Go Pirates.